And let me ask, does anybody have any questions? How's everybody finding the homework? Is everything good? I heard a soul. Sounds good. Wait, let me see something. It was kind of confusing. Okay, okay. Do you have a question that you'd like to go over?
No.
Yeah, we could go over your actual homework question live. That's no problem. Could you read it to me? Or type it or whatever? Copy paste it. Mm. Okay, no problem, no problem. If anything, after today's lesson, what you call it, like if you want to ask at the end of class, that's fine too. We could do it like that as well, if that's helpful, if you're still in transition. But for everybody else, does everybody else have any other questions? No pressure. Just if there's anything that you're not understanding, mm, anything you want to review, that's okay as well. Mm. Just gonna give it another minute. Just kind of asking everybody if they have any questions, anything that they'd like to go over.
Influencer houses are a dying breed anyways. Okay. Summer, and it's time to level up. And girl, let me tell you, you already are. Look at all the stuff they're sending you. Okay, they are kissing your ass right now. I did not know we're so
Like somebody's unmuted. All right, well, if there's no questions, let's jump into today's lesson, right? But before we get into today's lesson, right, I just want to do a little blast from the past. Now, this blast from the past might be the question that you wanted to ask, but I don't know, sometimes we get lucky like that in life, you know? So let's look at this first blast from the past, right? So I got 5x minus 4, right? I want to evaluate that when x equals -1, right? Do you remember how to do that?
5x.
Uh-huh. So what do I do? Like, tell me how to do this. And it's okay if you don't remember. You know, I'll take that as an answer as
Don't
well.
you substitute the x for -1?
Exactly, exactly. That's it. And then you just go about and do the process. So this is going to become 5, but instead of the x, for
-1.
these, plug in that -1 and then -4. After that, you know, first do is multiplication, right? So what do we get? What's 5 times -1?
-5.
Exactly. So -5, that's my 5, -4. So what's -5 minus 4? What's that?
-9.
Exactly. Very good. Very good. And that's my answer.
-9.
All right. So you just plug in the number and just do the math like you would usually, and then that's it. Questions on that, or are we good?
Add.
All right.
Negative. You add it.
Right. Right. Same sign. Yeah. Let's take a look at another one, right? Little bit harder. A little bit harder. Right. So in this one, I want to evaluate 3x minus 2y when x is equal to 4 and y is equal to -3. So walk me through it. How do I do this? What do we think? Well, it's going to be the same thing, right?
With the values.
Exactly, right? So I'm going to replace this x with the 4 minus 2, and I'm going to replace the y with the -3. And that's it. And that's all we do, right? Do a little multiplication. 3 times 4, what's that, 12? And then negative times negative is positive, plus 6. And then this is the hard part. What's 12 plus 6?
8.
18. Right there. And that's my answer. Questions on this? No questions? All right, cool. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. All right, so this was another homework that we did, right? Little blast from the past again, right? So what this says is that I want to solve for y, right? So solve for y from this equation that we have here. So we have 8 minus 3y is equal to 20. 8 minus 3y is equal to 20. And I want to solve for y. So what do I do first? What do I do first?
Get your y by yourself.
Exactly, right? I want to isolate that y. So I'm going to get rid of this number right here, this 8. It's a positive 8. So I want to subtract 8 from it. And that's how I get rid of it. But it got to be fair, right? When I do the one side of the equation, I have to do the other side of the equation. Subtract the 8 right here. So now what do I have? I have negative 3y is equal to 20 minus 8. What's that? 12. Very good. And now I still want that y by itself. So what am I going to do next?
Subtract 3y.
Not subtract, something else. I give you a, this is -3 times y. So how do I undo multiplication?
Oh, divide.
Divide, right? So I'm going to divide by -3, right? And that's going to get y by itself. But remember, I got to be fair, right? What I do to one side of the equation, I got to do to the other side of the equation. So I'm going to divide by -3 here. So now what do I have? I have y is equal to a positive divided by a negative is a negative. And 12 divided by 3 is what?
-4.
4. Very good. And that's my answer. All right. Questions on that? No questions? All right. So let's look at what we're going to get into today. So today, we're going to graph linear equations by plotting points. Good stuff, good stuff. A lot of you probably remember how to do this already, which is cool. All right. So graph a linear equation by plotting points, right? Oops. So there are several methods that can be used to graph a linear equation. The first method we will use is called plotting points, or the point plotting method. We find 3 points whose coordinates are solutions to the equation and then plot them in a rectangular coordinate system. By connecting these points in a line, we have a graph of the linear equation. Not bad, right? Let's take a look. So check this out. So I want to graph the equation y is equal to 2x plus 1, right? Y is equal to 2x plus 1. So what am I going to do first, right? Nice and simple, nice and simple. Just make a little table of values. Make a little table of values, right? So table of values is going to be, I'm going to have an x as my variable that I'm going to plug in, right? That's going to be my independent variable, and I'm going to have a dependent variable y. Dependent meaning that that's going to be the answer that I get out. And the equation that I have is what? Y is equal to 2x plus 1. Now, that being said, right, you could pick whatever x values you want to go into this equation, whatever you want, right? But me, I like to keep it simple, right? So I'm going to pick the easiest numbers in the world to do this question, right? And what's the easiest numbers in the world? Check this out, because remember, I need three. I need three of them, right? -1, 0, and 1. Can't go wrong with those numbers right there. Can't go wrong, right? If I needed more numbers, like say I needed 5 numbers, I would have added in -2 and 2 to this, and that's it, right? Just keep it simple, nothing crazy. All right, so let's check this out, right? I want to know what is the y value when x is -1, right? So watch what happens. This is how you do it. You have y is equal to 2. You're just going to plug in the -1 plus 1, right? Just like that. And then we just keep going with the math. So 2 times -1, is -2 plus 1. I'm going to call that -1. So that's the answer. -1. So this -1 right here that I found, right? That's the answer for here. That's the answer for there, right? All right. Let's look at the next one, right? So I have y is equal to 2 times 0 plus 1, right? You do the math on that. 2 times 0, that's just 0 plus 1. Call that a 1, right? So this is 1 right here. It's that simple, right? Last one, right? Last one's a little bit hard. So this is going to be y is equal to 2 times 1 plus 1, right? And we know 2 times 1 is just 2 plus 1, right? Count your fingers. 2 plus 1, what's that? 3, right? That means that this is 3 right here. Simple, right? Is there any questions on this? Any questions at all? No pressure.
Nope.
All right, cool. So now that I got this table of values, right? I want to make a graph, right? Bear with me 1 second. Like I'm not the greatest artist, but I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try to do something here. All right, I think that's good, right? So I'm gonna have my positive numbers up top. So this is 1, that's 2, that's 3. I'm gonna have my positive numbers to the right. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. I'm gonna have my negative numbers to the left. So let me think. Yeah, that makes sense. So this is -1, -2, -3. And then I'm gonna have my negative numbers to the left. So this is -1, -2, and -3. So the next thing that I want to do, right? I'm trying to pick a nice color. Nice color. Let's go with the pink. Let's go with the pink right here, right? So the next thing I want to do is I want to plot these points, right? So the first point that I have right here is -1, 1, right? Sorry, let me write it out real quick. It's like this. It's -1, -1, right? That point. So what I want to do is I want to plot that point. So we have two axes here, right? We have the x-axis and we have the y-axis, right? You always start off with your x's first, right? So we start off in the origin. The origin is the center. Right here in the middle, right? That's the origin. We're gonna go over one, and then under one, right? Boom. So this right here, let me change my color up a little bit. Let's call this purple right here, right? You could put like an X or you could put like a dot, whatever works, right? That's the point, -1, -1, all right? Let's do it again. Let's do it again for the next one. All right, I'm just gonna erase this one right here. Let's do it again for the next one, right? So now I'm looking at the next point. And the next point is going to be what? The next point is 0, 1, right? Start off on the x-axis, right? The 0 is right there in the center, right? 0 is right there in the center. So that's my x, and then I'm going to go, what? Up 1 right here. So my point for this one right here, this is my 0, 1, right? Erase that real quick. Let's look at the next one, right? So I'm looking at the final one now. This point is going to be what? It's going to be 1, 3, right? So just as a note, I forgot to say this earlier, right? All the points are going to be x, y. Hold on one second. Why is this not responding to me? All right. All the points are going to be x, y. All right. So the x coordinate goes here, and then the y coordinate goes here. Boom. Right? The last one is going to be 1, 3. So I go to where the 1 is, and then I go up 3, right? So we go over 1 and then up 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's where my point is going to be. One sec. Hold on one second. All right. Sorry about that. Just trying to get that to work right there. There we go. So this point here is the 1, 3. Right? After we get all of that together, that's a good one. Let's go with this one right here. After we get all of the points together, right? What we want to do is we want to connect the dots, right? We're going to connect the dots. There you go. One nice line that goes straight through it. I know my line isn't straight because I don't have a straight edge, but you guys have straight edges, on your papers and stuff, so you can connect the dots and make it like that. And this line represents the equation that we started with, which is what? Y is equal to 2x plus 1. That's what this line is here. And that's it. That's how we do this. Is there any questions on this? So I'm gonna try and just like post it in the chat before. Yeah, let me do that right now real quick. Not the chat. I mean to say the announcements. That's what I meant to say. But just so you know though, it is the same one each and every time. It doesn't change. The one that we have on Thursday. Just bear with me one second. All right, everybody, give me 1 second. I'm just gonna stop sharing for 1 second just so I could get this quick There we go. I'm gonna share back real quick. Sorry about that. If you were copying, sorry about that. All right. So just take a minute to look at that. I'm just gonna make a quick announcement on Brightspace to everyone, and then we'll get back into the lesson. Yeah, I'm just gonna post a link real quick. So I'll try to do that at the beginning of every class from now on. One second. All right, bet. Sorry about that. Everybody should have seen that link right now as a uploaded message. Anyway, back to our problem. Any questions? Are we good? All right, I don't hear any questions, so I'm just gonna throw up a problem and you guys can try it out for yourselves. Try that out. There we go. Let me know if you guys have any questions along the way. I'm gonna give you guys a couple minutes to do that. 2-3 minutes. Remember, make your table of values first. Plug in the numbers, get your Y values, plot them on the axis, plot them on the axis, and then you'll be good to go.
Yeah, Vente, all of them. Vente was busy because of work. Okay, what else? Who budget? I don't think nobody calls fucking Juba have no more for nothing. I'm like
Yo, bro.
let
Yeah,
Raheem
muted.
take over his personality, which used to be a happy kid.
All right, let's go over this. Sorry about that. 1 second. All right, sorry about that. So first thing we want to do, right? Let's make our table of values. So we're gonna have, sorry. All right. So we're gonna have our X, we're gonna have our Y, right? Now, I always recommend picking the most easiest numbers in the world for your X. And that for me, that would be -1, 0, and 1. You could pick any number that you want. So if there's if you like a more complicated number like 300, go right ahead. It'll still work. But I recommend using the easiest ones, right? After you pick those numbers, plug them right into the function that you've been given. So we have y is equal to 2x minus 3. Just plug that in, right? My x value for the first one is going to be what? -1. So this is going to be y equals 2 times -1 minus 3. You do the math on that. 2 times -1, that's going to give you a -2. And then you're going to subtract 3 from that. And what does that equal? What's -2 minus 3?
-5.
-5. Very good, right? So boom, I have -5 right here. All right. Our next one is going to be y equals 2, but instead of the x, we're going to have 0 minus 3. And 2 times 0 we know is 0 minus 3. So that just gives me -3. Right? Last one. This one is a little bit harder now, right? So I have y is equal. This is going to be 2 times 1 minus 3. And we know that 2 times 1 is just 2 minus 3. And what's 2 minus 3?
-1.
Exactly, -1. Very good. So now, what do? Nice and simple, right? I'm going to have a axis. I'm going to draw the axis real quick. I'm going to go out to 5 on this one, right? So if you notice, I kind of just go with whatever the highest number is in terms of how many numbers are going to write on the axis. So I'm going to go out to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and right here 5, right? And that's my x-axis. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and up here 5, and that's my y-axis. Over here, -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. And on the bottom, -1. Ooh, let me go on the other side. -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. Okay. So now, what I want to do, I want to plot the points, right? So I'm going to start off with this first one right here. This point is going to be -1, comma, -5, right? So I come across, start at the origin right here is the origin in the middle, right? We're gonna go from the origin, right? We're gonna go over 1. Then we're gonna go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So that's where my point is gonna be. So my point is gonna be -1, comma, -5, which is right here. And that's the point. -1, comma, -5. I'm gonna erase these real quick. Okay. My next point. Let me get a nice color for that. My next point is gonna be 0, comma, -3. So start off at the origin, right? The origin is right here in the middle, right? And then, so that's gonna be my 0, and I'm gonna go down 3, right? So starting off here, we're gonna go down 3. 1, 2, 3, right here. This is where my next point is, right on the line itself. Right on the line itself. And then that's the point, 0, comma, -3. Final point is gonna be 1, comma, -1, right? So same thing. We're gonna start off at the center. Oops, let me start off with this one. We're gonna start off in the center. We're gonna go over 1, and then under 1, right? Over 1 and then under 1. Okay, so that's where our point is gonna be. Let me just get that nice color going. 1, comma, -1. Right there. And then what are we gonna do after that? Just connect the dots. Connect the dots. Let me get a nice color to connect the dots. Let's do it in the pink. Yeah, that should work. All right. So we just connect these dots right here, just like so. And then that's the equation that we were given, right? So this is the y equals 2x minus 3. All right, questions. Did everybody get that? Everybody was able to get this line, no problem? Awesome, awesome. All right. If there's no more questions, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Oops. Before we move on though, just want to give you guys a step-by-step procedure real quick written out. I know some people might like to see that. So there you go. So graph a linear equation. Excuse me, graph a linear equation by plotting points, right? Step 1, you find 3 points whose coordinates are solutions to the equation. Organize them in a table. Plot the points in a rectangular coordinate system. Check that all the points line up, right? And if they do not, check carefully. If they do not, carefully check your work. Step 3, draw the line through the 3 points and extend the lines to fill the grid and put the arrows on both ends of the line. So you guys might notice me stuttering and all that. What's happening is there's like this mosquito that's flying around me, so I'm trying to fan it. Just to let y'all know, in case you guys hear me stuttering while I'm reading. How did I get -3? Got you. So that was for the second one, right? So the number that I chose to plug in for the x was actually 0 over here, right? So when I plugged in 0, I got 2 times 0 minus 3. And then 2 times 0, you know, is just 0. And then 0 minus 3 leaves you with just -3. So that's how I got the -3 here for the table. That makes sense? Awesome, awesome. All right. That's the graph right there. So let's talk a little bit more about these graphs real quick. All right, so it is true that it only takes 2 points to determine a line, but it is a good habit to use 3 points. If you only plot 2 points and one of them is incorrect, you can still draw a line, but it will not represent the solutions to the equation. It will be the wrong line. So if you use 3 points and one is correct, the points will not line up. This tells you that something is wrong and you need to check your work. So look at the difference between these illustrations, right? So we have this graph here, A, where all 3 lines are on the same line, right? That's how you know you did it right. But let's look at B. We have 3 points, but they're scattered. They don't line up in a perfect line. So we know that from that picture, we did something wrong with our math, right? One of the points is off, right? We don't know which one, but one of the points is off. So when an equation includes a fraction as the coefficient of x, we can still substitute any numbers for x, but the arithmetic is easier if we make good choices for the values of x. This way, we will avoid fractional answers which are hard to graph precisely. All right? Let's take a look at what we're talking about here. Let's take a look at what we're talking about. So let's look at this equation, right? So I want to graph the equation y equals 1/2 x plus 3, right? Now, the same rule applies as previous. You could pick whatever numbers you want to go in this, right? But the smarter pick over here, because it's a fraction, would be to pick numbers that would make the fraction disappear. So pick numbers that, in this case, our fraction is 1/2. Pick numbers that are divisible by 2, right? So like big numbers that are divisible by 2 or whatever, right? So if I'm doing my table, some basic numbers for me that are divisible by like would make 2 disappear, right? That's what I'm trying to think of. I'm thinking of -2. I'm thinking of 0, of course, and I'm thinking of +2, right? Just keep it simple, nothing crazy, right? Basic stuff we're trying to do here. So from that now, I have what? Y is equal to 1/2. Sorry. This mosquito is annoying me. I'm so sorry, you guys. It is so annoying. Sorry about that. So we have y is equal to 1/2 x plus 3, right? So what am I going to do now? I want to plug in that x value to get the y value out. So let's try for the first one, right? The first one's going to be, hold up, why you not listening to me? There we go. First one's going to be y is equal to 1/2 times the -2 plus 3, right? When we do the math on this, 1/2 and -2, you know, that's going to become what? -1 plus 3. And -1 plus 3, we know that the answer is just +2. Boom. Next one, we're going to have what? Y equals 1/2. But instead of the -2, it's going to be 0 plus 3. And we know 0 times anything is 0, so this becomes 0 plus 3. So we just call that 3. And that's going to be my answer for the second one. The last one, a little bit harder. This is going to be 1/2 times 2 plus 3. And we know that 1/2 times 2, that's going to cancel out, become 1 plus 3. And 1 plus 3 we know is 4. So that's it. And that's how I got my table for this one. Is there any questions on this? So the idea here is to pick a whole number that's gonna get rid of the fraction and then give me like easier numbers to work with. Any questions on that? Nope. Okay. So I'm gonna keep it moving then. All right. So next we gotta do, let's get to our graph. Now I noticed that my largest number is 4, so I'm just gonna go out 4 in every direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative, ooh, wrong side. -1, -2, -3, and -4. +1, +2, +3, +4, 1, 2, 3. We'll go a little bit further up. 4. And that's it, right? The only thing we got to do, let's get our points. First point here is going to be -2, 2. Let's do that. I'm going to go, ooh. Nobody said anything. I was supposed to put -4, -3, -2, -1. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So we want to go -2, +2. So we're going to come across on the x-axis. We're going to go over 2 and up 2. 1, 2. And right there, that's going to be my point. Right there, that's my point. Erase these, right? So that's the point. -2, 2. After that, this is the point 0, 3. So I'm going to start off at the origin right here. It's right in the middle. Right, and then we're gonna go what? Up 3. 1, 2, 3. That's this point right here. So that's gonna be the point right here. 0, 3. After that, we want to do the last one. The last one is 2, 4. Right? 2, 4. So for that one, I'm gonna come over 2, and I'm gonna go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So right here, that's where that point is gonna be. Let's do that point in blue. That's the point 2, 4. Call that 2, 4. And then let's connect the dots. And that's it. All right. I know it doesn't look really, really nice. I'm not working with a straight edge. I'm kind of just drawing a line across the screen, so to speak. Right. But on your papers, I'm sure it would look much nicer. Anyway, any questions? Any questions by anyone? All right. If there's no questions, let me let you guys try one. There you go. All right, try that out. Let me know what you guys think. Remember, make your table first, plot the points, connect the dots with a line. We're good to go. Try not the problem. Try not the problem. All right, let's take a look at this. All right. So, first thing I want to start off with, let's make a table of values. Now remember here, right? I'm looking at this equation, and I have a fraction next to the x, right? I want to pick a number strategically so that I can make the fraction disappear or appear as a whole number and then give me easier math for the y. I don't want decimal numbers for my y, right? If I can avoid them, if I can avoid them. That being said, I'm trying to think of 3 numbers that I can plug in that will do such a thing, right? And remember, I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. So 3 simple numbers that come to mind: -3, 0, 0 is always easy, and +3, right? So now, if I have y is equal to 1/3x minus 1, what can I do? I can do 1/3, replace the x with, like, let's say -3 to do the first one, minus 1. And we already know 1/3 times -3 is going to give us a -1 minus 1, which is what? What's -1 minus 1? No one? All right, so it's -2. Let's look at the next one. I have 1/3 times 0 minus 1. And we know 0 times anything is just 0 minus 1. So this is just going to give me -1. Let's look at the last one. I have 1/3 times 3 minus 1. And we know that that's going to be 1 minus 1, which is going to leave me at 0. All right. Questions on this? Or are we good? All right. If you're good, let's look at the graph. I see 3, so I'm just going to do 3s. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. -1, -2, -3, -1, -2, and -3. X-axis, y-axis, right? Our first point here, this is going to be -3 comma -2, right? So what do we do? Start at the origin, in the middle. We're going to go over on the x-axis 3, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to go down 2, 1, 2. Try that again. 1, 2. Right? So that's where my point is going to be. Right? So that is -3 comma -2. Next one. This is going to be 0 comma -1. So we start off at 0, right? On the x-axis, then we'll go down to -1. So this is 0 comma -1. Last one. gonna be 3 comma 0. So I'm gonna come across from the origin. I'm gonna go over 3. And then that's it. Try it again. Right? And then that's it. That's where that point is gonna go. Right? And after you get your 3 points, let's draw a line through it. And that's it. That's the end of the problem. Any questions on this from anyone? No questions?
I have a question. How you getting the equals 1/3 and where you get the -3 from?
I picked it. I randomly chose that number. You could
Oh,
pick
so you
whatever
can
numbers you want, but I recommend whenever you have a fraction, pick a number that's gonna get rid of the fraction and make your y value a whole number.
Oh, so like you see where the X is at? I just pick all 3 of them
Yeah,
on the X side.
you just pick
Okay.
them. Yeah.
All right.
I recommend you pick the easiest numbers and you pick so which easiest being the smallest and if there's a fraction, a number that will get rid of the fraction.
All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. What other questions? All right. So the next thing we want to do, we want to graph vertical and horizontal lines. To graph vertical and horizontal lines. So some linear equations have only one variable. They may have just x or no y, or just y without an x. This changes how we make a table of values to get the points to plot. Let's consider the equation x equals -3. This equation has only one variable, x. The equation says that x is always equal to -3. So its value does not depend on y. No matter what is the value of y, the value of x is always -3. All right? All right. So to make the table of values, we write -3 in for all the x values, right? Then choose any values of y. Since x does not depend on y, you can choose any number you like. But to fit the points on our coordinate graph, we'll use 1, 2, and 3, right? For the y coordinate. So if x is equal to -3, x is always -3, and the y values are changing. So 1, 2, 3. That gives us a point -3, 1, -3, 2, -3, 3. Right? All right. All right, so plot the points on the table and connect them with a straight line. Notice that we have graphed the vertical line here. So here goes the vertical line right here. So this is when x is equal to -3. No matter what y value comes in, the x value is always -3. All right, let's think about another scenario. Right here. So what if the equation has y but no x? Let's graph y equals 4. This time the y value is a constant. So in this equation, y does not depend on x. So fill in 4 for all of the y's in table 3.3 and then choose any value of x. We'll use 0, 2, and 4 for the x coordinate, right? So in this scenario, y is equal to a number and any x we pick to go in will work. So we pick some easy ones, 0, 2, and 4. Right? And then that's gonna give us 0, 4, 2, 4, 4, 4, etc. Let's take a look at the graph. So in this figure, we have graphed a horizontal line passing through the y-axis at 4, right? So when y is equal to 4, any x value that we plug in will be on this graph. That's that. All right. Just to reiterate what I was saying real quick, and then I'll check in for questions after. So vertical and horizontal lines. A vertical line is the graph of an equation of the form x equals a. The x line passes through the x-axis at a comma 0. A horizontal line is the graph of the equation of the form y equals b. The line passes through the y-axis at 0 comma b. All right, is there any questions so far? Any at all? No questions? All right, let's take a look then. For example, in this question, they want us to graph x equals 2 and y equals -1. So for A, we're gonna have a graph like so. Where's x equals 2? 1, 2. That's gonna be a line that goes through the x-axis here, where x is equal 2, boom. So that's a vertical line, right? 1 second, we'll switch this up. Let's look at B, right? We want to graph y equals -1. So I'm gonna have my axis here. It's my X, this is my Y. And this is gonna be a line here. Right? And this is gonna be y is equal to -1. This is a horizontal line. Horizontal goes from left to right. Vertical is up and down. Questions on this? Any questions? If there's no questions, let me let you guys try. You guys try. Give you guys a minute. I'll be right back. All right, let's take a look. So, oops. So I'm looking at A, right? X-axis, Y-axis. I want to graph x equals 5. So where's 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right here. So this right here, vertical line, this will be x equals 5. That's simple. All right. Let's try B. I have y equals -4. This is x, this is y, right? If they're giving me y equals -4, I know I have to cross the y-axis. So I'm going to cross it at -4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there we go. And this would be y equals -4. Horizontal line. Questions on that? Everybody got that? Everybody got that? All right, if there's no questions, let's keep it moving. So the next thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about intercepts. All right. So let's talk about how to find the x and y intercepts. So every linear equation can be represented by a unique line that shows all the solutions of the equation. We have seen that when graphing a line by plotting points, you can use any 3 solutions to graph. This means that 2 people graphing the line might use different sets of 3 points. At first glance, their 2 lines might not appear to be the same since they would have different points labeled, but if all the work was done correctly, the lines should be exactly the same. One way to recognize that they are indeed the same line is to look at where the line crosses the x-axis and the y-axis. These points are called the intercepts of a line, right? The intercepts of a line. Just to reiterate. So intercepts of a line are the points where the line crosses the x-axis and the y-axis, right? And they're called the intercepts of a line. There you go. So let's take a look at some graphs real quick. All right. So I have this line on the left-hand side, right? So this point here, 3,0, right? Where it's crossing the x-axis, that's called your x-intercept. X-intercept is a point, and the point is 3,0. Over here, this top point, right? The top point where the graph is crossing the y-axis, that's called the y-intercept. And y-intercept is a point, and that point is 0,6, right? I'm looking at the graph on the right-hand side now, right? So looking at this graph over here, this point, top point, which is a point 4,0, that is your what? Your x-intercept, right? Because that's the point where the graph is crossing the x-axis. Bottom point right here, the one that is 0,-3, that's called your y-intercept, right? And the y-intercept is a point 0,-3, and it shows you where the graph is gonna cross the y-axis. All right, questions on this? Any questions at all? Oh, sorry. Just noticed. Any questions on it? Let's look at another two graphs. So I'm looking at the graph on the left. This one is the one that says x minus y is equal to 5, right? If I look at the top point, that's 5 comma 0. That's my x-intercept, 5 comma 0. Look at the bottom point, which is 0 comma negative 5. That is my y-intercept, right? 0 comma negative 5. Now, take a look at this last graph. Real interesting, right? This is the equation y equals negative 2x. It's negative 2x. That point in the center, 0, 0, is both the x-axis and the y-axis at the same time in this graph. Questions on this? All right, there's no questions. So first, we notice where each of these lines crosses the x-axis. Now let's look at the points where these lines cross the y-axis, right? So figure A, that's this first one that we were looking at here. Right, the line crosses the x-axis at 3, so ordered pair for this point is 3 comma 0. The line crosses the y-axis at 6, so ordered pair is 0 comma 6. Okay. So next graph crosses at 4, negative 3. Next graph crosses at 5, negative 5. Origin, and then A and B. So general figure, that's what I want you guys to get out of this, the general figure, right? If a line crosses at a particular number, it crosses the x-axis, excuse me, at a particular number, then the ordered pair for that is gonna be that number, comma 0. If the line crosses the y-axis at some number, the ordered pair for that is gonna be 0, comma blind. Excuse me, 0, 0, comma B. Sorry about that, blind. 0, comma B, 0, comma B. Questions? Are we good? So do you see a pattern for each line? The y-coordinate of the point where the line crosses the x-axis is 0. The point where the line crosses the x-axis has the form a comma 0, and it's called the x-intercept of the line. The x-intercept occurs when y is 0. In each line, the x-coordinate of the point where the line crosses the y-axis is 0. The point where the line crosses the y-axis has the form 0 comma b, and it's called the y-intercept of a line. So the y-intercept occurs when x is 0. Just for notes. So x-intercept and the y-intercept of a line. The x-intercept is the point a comma 0 where the line crosses the x-axis. The y-intercept is the point 0 comma b where the line crosses the y-axis. The x-intercept occurs when y is 0, so you have a comma 0. The y-intercept occurs when x is 0, so you have 0 comma b. Questions on that? So find the x and y-intercept of these two numbers. Equation graphs, excuse me. All right. So remember, what am I looking for here? I want the x-intercepts and the y-intercepts, and remember that those are points. 1 second. Those are points. I want this to pop a little bit. All right, y-intercept right here. Very simply, that's the point. 0, comma 2. X-intercept right here. Very simply, that's the point. 4, comma 0. Same thing over here. Y-intercept. This is the point. 0, comma, -6. Over here, x-intercept. This is the point 2, comma 0. That's all you have to do for me. You tell me what those points are, and we're good to go. All right, I feel like that's pretty straightforward. If anybody wants to try one, I'll throw one up for you guys. You guys can give that a try. X-intercept, y-intercept, I give you about a minute to do that because I feel like that's pretty good. All right. Right here, looking at the x-intercept. This is the point 2, comma 0. Right here, looking at the y-intercept. This is the point 0, comma -2. Questions on that? Anybody? Questions on that? All right, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Now let's have a little fun. Now, recognizing that the x-intercept occurs when y is 0 and that the y-intercept occurs when x is 0 gives us a method to find the intercepts of a line from its equation. To find the x-intercept, let y equals 0 and solve for x. To find the y-intercept, let x equals 0 and solve for y. All right? So let's take a look. Real quick. So to find the x and y intercepts from the equation of a line, use the equation of the line to find the x-intercept of the line. You let y equal to 0 and you solve for x. The y-intercept of the line, you let x equal to 0 and you solve for y. All right? A little bit of a reverse, but I'm going to show you guys. All right, let's say that I have this example right here. I want to find the intercepts of 2x plus y is equal to 8. 2x plus y is equal to 8. So let me just write that down real quick. Okay. Now remember, right? The x-intercept, right? The x-intercept. Just gonna make a little table of values here. Right? All right. So the x-intercept, right, occurs when y is equal to 0. Right here. All right. So this is my x-intercept. The y-intercept occurs when x is equal to 0. This is my y-intercept. So to find what the actual intercept is, just go straight into the equation. So I have 2x plus y is equal to 0. Now I'm going to look for the x-intercept first, right? For the x-intercept first. All I have to do is plug in 0 for y. So this becomes what? 2x, whoops, equals 8. This becomes 2x plus 0 for y is equal to 8. I just want to solve for x. So this becomes what? 2x is equal to 8. I'm going to divide by 2. I do to one side, do to the other. So I have x is equal to 4. This is my x-intercept, right? To put it as a point, this is the point 4, comma 0, right? To find a y-intercept, I'm going to do something very similar, but in reverse. Excuse me, sorry about that. Right? So I have 2x plus y is equal to 8. What am I going to do? I'm going to plug in 0 for x. So this is going to become 2 times 0 plus y is equal to 8, right? Now you already know 2 times 0 is going to become 0. So this is just 0 plus y equals 8. Very simply, y is equal to 8. So I'm going to plug that in right here. And that's my y-intercept. As a point, this is the point 0, comma 8. Excuse me. Is there any questions on this? Nope. Okay, that's good. All right. If there's no questions on that, let me let you guys try one. I'll let you guys try one. There you go. Give it a try. Remember, I want the x-intercept and I want the y-intercept. There you go. I'll give you guys another minute. All right, let's take a look. So I have 3x plus y is equal to 12. Now I want the x-intercept. All right, x-intercept. Now we know the x-intercept occurs when y equals 0, right? So what do? Take the equation, what we have, 3x, but instead of the y, we're gonna plug in 0 equals 12. We're just gonna solve for x. This becomes what? 3x equal to 12. Divide by 3. What you do to one side, you do to the other. So x is equal to 4. That's my x-intercept. Let's take a look and look for my y-intercept. So remember, the y-intercept occurs where x is equal to 0, right? This is my y-intercept. So what am I going to do, right? I'm going to take the same equation that I have, 3x plus y equals 12, right? But instead of the x, I want to plug in 0. So 3 times 0 plus y is equal to 12. And we already know 3 times 0 is just 0. So this becomes, whoops, this becomes 0 plus y is equal to 12. And then just call it y is equal to 12. So bam.
Hello? You
Go
can hear
ahead.
me?
Yep, I can hear you. Go right ahead.
My audio is kind of messed up. I'm gonna rejoin, if that's
No
fine.
problem. No problem. Not a problem. Go right ahead. All right. That is fine. So x-intercept and y, whoops. Sorry about that. So y-intercept 0, 12. X-intercept, one second. All right. X-intercept 4, 0. These are my answers, by the way. And that's it. That's all that is. All right, so now that we have that knowledge, all right? Now that we have that knowledge, let's graph a line using the intercepts, right? So to graph a linear equation by plotting the points, you need to find 3 points whose coordinates are solutions to the equation. We can use the x and y intercepts as 2 of your 3 points. Find the intercepts and then find a third point to ensure accuracy. Make sure the points line up, then draw the line. This method is often the quickest way to graph a line. Let's take a look. So very similarly, right? Same question as what we had before, right? So I want to graph negative x plus 2y is equal to 6, right? All right. So what we want to do here is let's find our intercepts, right? Let's find our intercepts. So remember that in order to graph this, right, I have to have a table of values. And you remember I have to choose 3 points, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is let's make our life easy and let's make one of those points a point where y is equal to 0 and another point where x is equal to 0. And then we'll just choose some random third point to make our life easy. All right. So looking at the first one, right, when x is equal to 0, right? When x is equal to 0, this is going to become what? Negative times 0 plus 2y is equal to 6. this becomes what? 0 plus 2y is equal to 6. So 2y is equal to 6. Divide by 2, divide by 2. So I have y is equal to 3 right here, right? So boom, that's this first one right here. I made a mistake. I meant to say that the y should have been 0. Let's do that. Let's do that now. So this next one is going to say negative x plus 2, but I'm going to make the y equal to 0 is equal to 6. And you know, anything times 0 is just 0, right? So this becomes negative x is equal to 6, but I can't keep the x like that. I have to make it positive. So I'm going to divide by negative 1. When I do the one side, do to the other. So I have x is equal to negative 6. So bam, negative 6. And then now I can choose any third point that I want, right? I think what would be smart to do here, in my opinion, right? Let's solve for y. So if I'm going to solve for y in this equation, negative x plus 2y is equal to 6, solving for y, I'm going to add x over here. Where I do to one side, I do to the other. And then I have 2y is equal to x plus 6. I'm going to divide by 2, and everybody gets to be divided by 2, because what you do to one side, you do to the other. Now I have what? Y is equal to 1/2 x plus 3. Now remember what I said before, right? We best thing that we could do is pick a x value that's gonna get rid of the fraction there and give me a whole number. So you know what I'm thinking about doing? I'm thinking about plugging in 2 and then seeing what happens. So when I plug in 2, 1/2 times 2 becomes what? 1 plus 3, which is what? 4, right? So what do I know? I know that when x is equal to 2, y is 4. Bam. And that's it. And then now, since I have these points here, right? All I have to do is just go out to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 1 second. Where's my mouse? 6, right? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go like that. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and then -1, -2, -3, -4. Okay. Let's plot these points. Excuse me. First point is -6, 0. -6, 0 is right here. Come across the -6, go up 0. So this is -6, 0. Next point is 0, 3, right? So I'm go up here. So I go from the origin and go up to 3. So that's this point right here. 0, 3. Final point, I'm going to go from 2 up to 4. It's going to be right here, 2, 4. Then you just connect the dots. And that's it. Questions, anybody? Any questions? Any questions? No bad questions here. No bad questions here. Well, there's no questions here. Let me let you guys try one. All right, try that out. All right, let's take a look. So remember, I want to graph this, right? I have x minus 2y is equal to 4, right? You remember that's a graph. I have to choose 3 points, right? X, y. But now what I'm saying is, let's make 2 of those points. 2 of those points will be the intercepts. Excuse me. And the third point could be whatever we want it to be. So we have one point where y is 0, another point where x is 0. Excuse me. Okay. Let's look at that first point. All right. The first point is where y is 0. So I'm going to have x minus 2 times 0 is equal to 4. Now, you know, anything times 0 is 0. So this becomes what? X is equal to 4. And that's simple. Let me get another color. Excuse me. For this one, I'm going to plug in 0 for x. Minus 2y is equal to 4. Excuse me. And now what I want to do is I want to solve for y. So this is going to become 0 minus 2y is equal to 4. So now I have minus 2y is equal to 4. I'm going to divide by negative 2 to get y by itself. What you do to one side, you do to the other. So now what do we have? Y is equal to negative 2. Right there and right here. And then last but not least, what I recommend to do, right? Take the equation that you have. In this case, we have x minus 2y is equal to 4. Solve for y. Solve for y. So I'm going to divide, excuse me. I'm going to subtract by x over here to get y by itself. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So I have negative 2y minus x, excuse me, negative 2y equals negative x plus 4. After that, I want to divide by the number that's in front of the y. In this case is what? Negative 2. Or we do to one side of the equation, we have to do to the other side of the equation. And now what do I have? Y is equal to a negative divided by negative is a positive, so 1/2 x, and a positive divided by negative is a negative, and then 2. All right? So we could plug in any number that we want for x. I recommend plugging in a number that's gonna get rid of the fraction. So in this case, I would plug in 2. This would become 1/2 times 2 minus 2. It should become 1 minus 2, which we know is negative 1. So this would be 2 and negative 1. Questions on this so far? Okay, long story short, the reason we're doing all this is that we want to graph it. X-axis, y-axis, right? Plot the points. This is going to be the point 4, 0, so 4, 0 is right here. Next point is 0, negative 2. That point is right here, 0, negative 2. Technically, that's all I need to graph it, but let's go a step further. Next one is going to be 2, negative 1, so that's right here in the middle. After that, connect the dots. And that's it. That's our graph. Questions on this? Go ahead, I see one. Nope, okay. All right. So if there's no questions on this, real quick, let me just recap. Recap. Just want to do a little recap real quick. So how to graph a linear equation using the intercepts. Find the x and y intercepts of the line. Let y equals 0 and solve for x. Let x equals 0, solve for y. Step 2, find a third solution to the equation, whatever you want, right? I recommend getting rid of the fraction, like method, but if you want to pick any other number, go right ahead. Step 3, plot the 3 points and check that the lines line up. And step 4, draw the line. That's it. That's what we're doing. All right. Let us, I'm trying to think. Kind of looking at the time, because I want to do another like little fun example, but we do have one more concept to go through. That's really important. All right, this is kind of important. So let's do this and then we'll circle back if we have time. We'll circle back. Okay. So I want to talk about a special situation. So this special situation is when the line passes through the origin, the x-intercept and the y-intercepts are the same point, right? Let me say that again. When a line passes through the origin, the x-intercept and the y-intercept are the same point. All right, so let me show you what I'm talking about with that real quick. So let's take a look at this type of question, for example, right? So I want to graph y is equal to 5x using the intercepts, right? Now here's my issue. Here's my issue. Y is equal to 5x. When I'm making my table of values right here, the issue is that this graph passes through the origin, right?
Yeah.
So when x is 0,
No, wait.
y is 0. When x is 0, y is 0. Right? So that means that that's going to be my only quote unquote intercept point. So now I have to pick two other points that are going to be on the line, right? Again, keep it very simple. We're not trying to, solve cancer here or anything like that, right? I'm going to choose 1 and I'm going to choose -1, right? If x is 1, then you already know this becomes like what? 5 times 1, which is just 5, right? So that's y is equal to 5. Very simple. And if x was -1, you already know this is just gonna become y is equal to -5. Keep it simple. Nice and simple, right? After that, what we're gonna do, we're gonna graph it, right? We're gonna graph it. This particular graph, as I said, is going through the origin. So that's gonna be the point 0, comma 0. And then we're gonna go 1, then up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's gonna be this point right here. This point here is gonna be 1, comma 5. Then we're gonna go over 1 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is gonna be another point. So this is gonna be the point -1, comma -5. Connect the dots. And this is the graph. Y is equal to 5x. And that's it. Questions on this? Any questions at all? Any questions at all? All right, let me let you guys try one of these. All right, you guys try. All right, let's take a look. All right, so I want to graph y is equal to 4x, right? Remember, I need 3 points in order to do the graph. But this particular question is special because this graph goes through the origin, which means that when x is 0, y is 0, all right, and vice versa. So that being said, I have to pick 2 additional points that can go into this, right? And again, keep it simple. My recommendation, 1 and -1, right? When x is 1, y is 4. When x is -1, y is -4. Very simple, very basic, nothing complicated in this, right? We have our x-axis here, we have our y-axis here, just plug in the numbers, right? In the center, I'm gonna have that point, why are you not writing? Okay, 0, 0. And then I'm gonna come over 1, go 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's gonna be my other point, 1, 4. Then I'm gonna have come over -1, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is gonna be my other points, which is gonna be -1, -4. Connect the dots. And that's it. There's my graph. Y is equal to 4x. Any questions on this? Any questions at all? Make sense? All right. That being said, let's circle back. So we do have a couple more minutes. So let's circle back to that fun example that I wanted to do. Which is kind of just like a recap question. Right? So here you go. So same thing. I have 4x minus 3y is equal to 12, right? And I want to graph this using the intercepts. Same basic thing, right? So 4x minus 3y equals 12, right? We're gonna make our table of values. Are we just gonna keep it simple, right? Nothing complicated here. So I'm gonna have one answer where y is 0, one answer where x is 0. That's it. Let's start off with the y one, right? So if I have 4x minus 3, I'm gonna plug in 0 for y is equal to 12, right? What's gonna happen here? This is gonna become 4x is equal to 12. I'm gonna divide by 4, and what I do to one side, I gotta do to the other. So I have that x is equal to, what's this, 3? So bam, right? That's my x-intercept. Let's look at the y-intercept. So same idea, right? So I'm gonna plug in 0 for x, minus 3y is equal to 12. So you already know this is gonna become -3y is equal to 12. I'm gonna divide by -3. What I do to one side, do to the other. So this is what y is equal to -4. Let me write that in, -4, right? And then final question, excuse me, final point, right? We have 4x minus 3y is equal to 12. Solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 4x. What I do to one side, do to the other, subtract 4x. Now I have -3y is equal to -4x plus 12. And then after that, I want to divide by -3. And what I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other side of the equation. So now what's left over? I have y is equal to a negative divided by negative is a positive 4/3x, and a positive divided by a negative is a negative, and then 12 divided by 3 we know is just 4, right? And then now we want to pick a x value that's going to give me a whole number, right? Oh boy, here we go. So this x value that we're going to have to pick here, right, is going to be one that I want to get rid of the fraction with. I want to pick an x value that is divisible by 3. An x value that's divisible by 3. So what's the simplest thing I could pick? Positive 3. That's what I'm going to pick. So this is going to become 4/3 times 3 minus 4. Right? So, ooh, wait. I can't even pick that because look at this. That's already my x-intercept. So I gotta pick something else. Gotta pick something else. All right. How about -3? That looks nice, right? -3. So now when I plug in the -3, what happens? This becomes -4 minus 4. Call that -8. That looks good. So -3 and then -8. Now that you have your table, just graph it. Nothing crazy. Just graph it, right? So I already know my x-intercept is 3. So 1, 2, 3 right here. There goes my x-intercept. This is the 3, 0. Then I have my y-intercept is 0, -4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 0, -4. And then last but not least, I have 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going to go down to 8. So 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So that's going to be this point right here. And then this is the point -3, -8. After that, connect the dots. And that's it. That's the equation. 4x minus 3y is equal to 12. Questions on this? All right, no problem, Pauline. No problem. All right, any questions on this? All right, if there's no questions on this, let me let you guys try one real quick. That'll be our last example for today. Then you guys can go. Homework has been posted already, so you guys can take a look. I'm sure some of you have probably been doing the homework throughout the whole class today, which is fine. All right. Tutoring is open until 8 o'clock tonight, both in person and online. I will be online from 5 to 8 tonight in tutoring. So if anybody wants to join, please do. Just remember that you have to make an appointment because this is online. If you're on campus and you want to go to tutoring in person, please do. It's in CPH room 303. No worries. Tomorrow, tutoring is open 12 to 6. If you guys can make it. you know, or in person or online. So whatever works best for you. Same thing with Saturday, 12 to 6, in person and online, whatever works best for you. And then Monday, back to our usual schedule. All right. Pantry was today. I hope everybody got their free groceries. It was yesterday and today being the last day. I think it ends at 6 o'clock today. So, you know, if you're on campus and you're waiting for this class to end, you can still go get your groceries, no problem. I'm told that they accept walk-ins for the first time. So all you have to do is just kind of fill out that fill out that form that I posted in the announcements, and then just walk over there and grab what you like, or grab everything. I don't know, whichever one's better for you. All right. Next one will be in 2 weeks. Make an announcement when we get closer to that time. Oh, oops. There we go. All right, remember to stay on top of the homework. No problem, no problem. I understand. All right, let's get this last one out the way. So I have 5x minus 2y is equal to 10. And what I want to do is I want to graph this, right? But we're going to use the intercepts to do so. So remember, in order for me to graph these, I need to choose 3 points. I'm sorry, bear with me 1 second. Everything is like loading real quick. 1 second, 1 second. Oh, Lord. Sorry about that, everyone. Excel is just freezing on me. Apologize for that. All right, let's bring it back. We good? Awesome. Okay. Let me change back my color because I know they probably undid my color. All right, there we go. So anyway, I want to graph this equation, right? Now remember, in order for me to graph the linear equation, I need 1, 2, 3 points, right? I need 3 points. All right. Now, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to use the intercepts to be 2 of our points. So that means plugging in 0 for y. That means plugging in 0 for x. Let's see what we get. I'm going to do the first one. So I have 5x minus 2 times, I'm going to plug in the 0 for y, is equal to 10. As you know, anything times 0 is 0. So this becomes 5x is equal to 10. Now I want to solve for x. I'm going to divide by 5 to get x by itself. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So x is equal to what? 2. Right? Excuse me. Now, what I want to do, I want to do the reverse. So I'm going to plug in 0 for x. All right? Minus 2y is equal to 10. And now you know anything times 0 is 0. So this becomes what? Negative 2y is equal to 10, right? I'm gonna divide by -2 to get y by itself. When I do to one side, do to the other. So if y is equal to what? -5. Right? Final point, you can plug in whatever you want. What I recommend doing first is solving for y. So I have 5x minus 2y is equal to 10. Right? So now I'm going to subtract 5x from over here. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So now I have -2y is equal to -5x plus 10. And then what I want to do is I want to divide everything by the -2. So now I have y is equal to a negative divided by negative is a positive. 5/2x, and a positive divided by negative is a negative. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Right? So now I want to plug in a number that's going to get rid of this fraction. So I want to plug in a number that's divisible by 2. So I can't plug in +2 because that already was given. So what I'm going to plug in? -2 for x, right? So when I plug in a -2, what do I get? This is going to become -5 minus 5, which is -10, right? So I have -2, -10, right? After that, we want to graph this very simply. So for the first one, I'm going to have 1, 2. This is going to be my point. X-intercept, this is 2, 0. My next point, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my y-intercept. This is 0, -5. And then last but not least, I'm going to have 1, 2, and I'm going to go down to 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's going to be right here. And this is going to be the point, what? -2, -10. And then you just connect the dots. And that's it. That's going to be the equation, what? 5x minus 2y is equal to 10. And that's it. That's the graph of it. All right? Any questions on this? Any at all? Any questions from anybody? Well, that's the end for today. Trying to remember somebody had a question from earlier, but you were in travel and you weren't able to ask. Emil, I believe. So if you want, you could ask that question now, and then I can go over whatever it is. Emil, you still there? All right. All right, no problem. All right. The tutoring is open. You're more than welcome to attend. If anybody has any private questions, you can shoot me an email. As I said, I'll be in tutoring online today. So if you want, you can make the appointment to come. If not, in-person tutoring is open right now. You guys are welcome to take advantage. Right? Remember, last pickup for the pantry, I believe, is 6:30. So if you're on campus, you know what to do. All right. Have a great night, great weekend, everybody. And I'll see you all next week. All right.
All right, see you, teacher.
All right. See you. See you.
Bye, sir.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Have a great night, great weekend. Thank you.